New York thought electing a socialist mayor would be the change. But Trump just delivered them a reality check. And this time it came with a warning, loud and clear.
I want to touch about New York City real quick. You're a New Yorker. You famously kind of had a fight with Ed Koch back in the 70s and 80s as he was a mayor. He obviously wasn't a democratic socialist, as you call the mayor-elect Zohran Mamdani a communist. But is there any part of you that looks at Mamdani and says, it is good for you politically to have a big foil there that you're going to talk about for the next 3 years?
I'm so torn because I would like to see the new mayor do well because I love New York. I really love New York. When I left New York for Washington, New York was doing really well, but there were some bad signs. The bad sign was a guy named de Blasio. So the signs of de Blasio, that was the beginning, and it was bad. This one, we're going to look. For 1,000 years, communism has not worked. Communism or the concept of communism has not worked. I tend to doubt it's going to work this time.
Did you see his victory speech?
It's literally never worked. Yeah, I thought it was a very angry speech, certainly angry toward me, and I think he should be very nice to me. I'm the one that sort of has to approve a lot of things coming to him, so he's off to a bad start.
At one point he says, turn the volume up.
So hear me, President Trump, when I say this. To get to any of us, you will have to get through all of us.
How do you respond to that? Does that affect anything you're going to do?
It's a very dangerous statement for him to make, actually. And, you talk about danger. I think it's a very dangerous statement for him to make. He has to be a little bit respectful of Washington because if he's not, he doesn't have a chance of succeeding. And I want to make him succeed. I want to make the city succeed. I don't want to make him succeed. I want to make the city succeed, and we'll see what happens.
Did you see reaching out to him?
I would say he should reach out to us, really. I think he should reach out. Right. I'm here. We'll see what happens, but I would think that it would be more appropriate for him to reach out to us.
So speaking of reaching out, is there a deal that can be made to end this government?
Finally, we have the full clip. We only seen a portion of this speech in the previous Zohran video that we covered. And I want to say that's not arrogance. That's hierarchy. You don't spit at the man holding a checkbook and expect the money to keep flowing. Federal dollars run through Washington, and Trump made it crystal. I mean, crystal. Disrespect the process. Watch your funding dry up. And what exactly provoked the response? This right here, his so-called victory speech. Let's review another aspect of it.
Did you hear the threat Zohran Mamdani made against you?
Together, we will usher in a generation of change. And if we embrace this brave new course, rather than fleeing from it, we can respond to oligarchy and authoritarianism with the strength it fears, not the appeasement it craves. After all, if anyone can show a nation betrayed by Donald Trump how to defeat him, it is the city that gave rise to him. And if there is any way to terrify a despot, it is by dismantling the very conditions that allowed him to accumulate power. This is not only how we stop Trump, it's how we stop the next one.
So what are the conditions that Zohran Mamdani is going to dismantle? Now, Donald Trump was a real estate mogul, so is he going to dismantle the real estate market? That seems very unlikely. The only other reason that Donald Trump is sitting in the White House is because of like-minded people like me who wanted to put America first. And so now he's president because I am the condition that gave him his rise to power, and I am very thankful for the job that he is actually doing in the White House. So exactly how are you going to dismantle me and tens of millions of other Trump supporters? Can you elaborate on that?
Dismantle the conditions, Zohran said, right? Dismantle the conditions. Let me see if I can translate that. Punish anyone who voted the wrong way is what I think that translates to. I don't know. We have to put that in Google. This isn't leadership. It's vengeance dressed up as virtue, if you ask me. Every tyrant in history said they were dismantling conditions right before they started going after the people who disagree with them. And it's not just conservatives calling it reckless. Even voices in the middle, well, on the left, middle, I don't know where he's at these days, but they are uneasy too.
I'm going to tell you why I'm not happy about it. I like Mamdani. I'm looking forward to interviewing him. He's promised to be on this show. But I'm very, very concerned about some of the things that he said. I'm very concerned about what he once said about defunding the police. I'm calling 911. I'm being real with you. I'm calling 911. That's what I'm doing. I don't want to see less police officers. I want to see more police officers. I heard him talk about mental health experts in the subway system. I don't care about that. I want cops in the subways in New York City, where I was born and raised. Born in the Bronx, raised in Queens. That's what I want. I want to hear about no damn mental health experts in subways. Nah, I'm not trying to hear that, okay? 2% tax on the rich. Okay, fine. 11.5% capital gains tax. On its face, okay, fine. Free buses. Free grocery stores in each borough. Really? Really think that's going to work? Ladies and gentlemen, we're at a crossroads in this nation. And there's no way to slice it. And the level of vitriol that you see amongst the American citizen is because, God forbid, that you have a difference of opinion. It's not enough to agree. You know, people have to be disagreeable. And you have to be selfish if you're a person that's rich, that's making money, and you don't want to pay your fair share of taxes. Well, when you think about the billionaires in the state, in the city of New York, they make up about 48% in terms of the amount of taxes that they dole out compared to the average American, compared to the rest of New Yorkers. And if you're talking about raising their taxes while doing these other things, you're making New York unattractive, not just for residents, but for businesses. And if you make it unattractive for businesses and you compromise the ability to be the capitalist that these people are, then they take their businesses elsewhere. So the money that they paid on their homes or in rent, they move out of the city or the state. Businesses follow. And ultimately the tax burden falls on to New Yorkers out there, which means that rent freezes, which is also something that Mamdani pushed. Is that really going to be plausible? Are you really going to be able to freeze rent? Or are you going to end up hiking it? Because you don't have enough people here to pay it. Tax revenue, where you getting that from? See, these are all the kind of things that we have to connect the dots and ask ourselves, 1 + 1, does it equal 2? Is it really plausible that these things are going to happen? According to Mayor Hochul, 90% of the stuff Mamdani said he can't do on his own. He got to come through her and the state legislature in order to get it done. Is he going to be able to do that? What level of support is he going to have outside of young whippersnappers out there who love him and are so in love with his personality and everything else that they didn't really dot the I's and cross the T's and look at actual policies and the kind of effect that's going to have on New Yorkers? That's what I'm worried about. I hope I'm wrong. Because talking to him, I liked him. I'm looking forward to sitting down and interviewing with him. I just want to know where the money coming from. See, I count. Okay, I count. And I can't tell you how many young teenagers, it could be daughters, it could be nieces and nephews, it could be friends and family members or relatives of folks along that age gap. And you're asking the same question. And you know what you come up with? The people who love Mamdani the most are not people who pay bills every day. I'm not saying that applies to everybody. I'm not applying that. But they certainly not people that pay bills every day all the time. You don't see business owners clamoring to support them. I'm just saying these things are important to bring up.
Yes, they are. When Stephen A. Smith, one of the most mainstream voices in America, sounds more grounded than the New York mayor, that says a lot. He's not just ranting about politics. He's actually talking logic, if you ask me. Defund the police? Raise taxes on the rich? You can't keep squeezing the people who already carry the city's tax load and expect them to stick around. Once they leave, the lights go out. And yet, the new mayor's first concern wasn't crime. It wasn't jobs. It was food stamps.
The White House hasn't reached out to congratulate me. I continue to be interested in having a conversation with President Trump on the ways in which we can work together to serve New Yorkers, whether that be delivering on his campaign promises around cost of living or the many issues that New Yorkers have been sharing with me about the drastic impacts that the legislation that President Trump has ushered through Washington will mean for them and their lives. Too often we understand these impacts solely at an individual level, but if we just speak a little bit more about SNAP benefits, these are not just affecting the close to 2 million New Yorkers who are on SNAP, these also affect the grocery stores across our city. There were a number of mom and pop owned grocery stores that spoke to me about the fact that in the Bronx, SNAP revenues make up more than a quarter of all of their revenue. And this has the impact of decimating their ability to keep their doors open. The White House hasn't reached out to
Wow. Nearly 2 million people on government assistance, and his solution is more dependency. That's not recovery. That's rot. You can't brag about a city's greatness while half its citizens need the government to feed them. That's what happens when ideology replaces accountability. When you treat hard work like privilege and freeloading like compassion. Now, Trump responded with a wrong Hawk, man. Trump responded with a warning. There we go. And the city seemed to have shrugged it off, thinking it was just talk. But real ones know better. This wasn't ego. That was a man who's seen what happens when leaders forget where their money, safety, and backbone come from. You can't lead a city by lecturing the people who built it. You can't fund a revolution with tax revenue from the very folks you demonize. And you can't scream progress while driving every taxpayer in business right out the back door. New York wanted rebellion. I want to be able to talk correctly without speaking gibberish. But what they're about to get is reality. Because there's a difference between the mayor who makes speeches and the president who makes moves. And when one plays pretend while the other holds the purse strings, we already know who wins that fight. Now, if you made it to the end of the video, you're part of the few who's still paying attention while the rest of the world scroll past the warning sign. So if you made it to the end of the video, I want you to put warning. Yeah, just warning. That's it. Y'all be safe. Please go check on a friend today. You can quite literally be saving their life. Peace.